Coming up today on TechLink Daily, some serious DMCA reform is ahead of us, a new Nokia phone, and do you turn your devices off when you're on an airplane? All of those stories and more coming up on today's TechLink Daily. Hey guys, welcome back to TechLink Daily. My name is Creighton Miller. This is your top tech source for news on a daily basis that gives it back to you with a clear-cut opinion and hopefully makes sense of stuff for you guys. Our first story today comes from All Things D, which reads, ahead of I/O, Google Wallet drops plans to introduce a physical card. While Google has plans to debut new updates to its wallet platform, we won't be seeing a physical card just yet. They do have plans for it, but strong sources tell All Things D that it's probably not going to happen at I/O, but very soon thereafter. Although I do not use Google Wallet currently, a physical card might be that tipping factor, just because I might be able to use it, bring in other sources of money, and be sort of like a PayPal almost, where you can have money, have a card, and if the bank account that you have on Google Wallet doesn't have enough money, then they take it away from an attached card. So Google Wallet might be going after PayPal for this, but I know their service has been growing recently, but they've probably hit a plateau and they're trying to think of new and innovative ways for people to use it. Well, that physical card may be one way. Now, straight from Nokia, introducing Nokia Lumia 928, bringing PureView to Verizon. This Verizon wireless exclusive phone running Windows Phone 8 boasts a 4.5-inch AMOLED display, 8.7 megapixel PureView camera, and runs on a Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 dual-core 1.5 gigahertz processor. Yay, another Nokia phone! It's not like they come out with one every couple of months or so. But what's really cool about this phone is that it has a bed that the phone can lay on, and when it's laying on the bed, it can charge itself. That might be cool for people who might not like to fiddle around with chargers that much. It's going to be $99 at Verizon Wireless on May 16th, and you get a $25 Windows Phone App Store credit if you get it by that time. So it might be worth it for some people. I have not personally had too much experience with the Windows Phone 8 platform, so I can't comment on, well, its usability, but it's a Windows Phone 8 phone, so you got to know that it doesn't have a lot of apps, but the user experience, as I've been told, is very good. Now, next up, here's an article that causes a bit of controversy and that I end up having to defend a lot of the times. It has to do with aviation and comes from the New York Times Bits blog. Many air passengers never turn off electronics, survey finds. So out of this survey, 21% of people claim that they just switch their phones into airplane mode and they don't really turn them fully off. Now, I want to make it clear here for the people who watch this program on what really turning off your phone does for airlines. And it's not for the reason you think. It's not because it's going to bring the plane down, because it's obviously not going to do that. What it's actually for is it actually makes you pay attention. The statistics show that 10 minutes before landing and 10 minutes after landing is that crucial point in which most of the in-air emergencies happen. So they want you to be alert, they want you to be aware of your surroundings and not fiddling with your phone when a fire breaks out in the cabin or you need to be a quick reaction to something. So that's why they want you to turn off your phones. And as for wireless, I usually do switch my phone into airplane mode and just put it in my pocket until we're up to when they say I can safely use my devices. And the reason why you want to turn off your cellular signal is not due in part to aviation really in general, it's actually due in part to your phone provider. So basically what happens is when you're going really fast up high in the air, your phone, the signal is jumping from tower to tower to tower, and it's doing that really fast. And if it's trying to download data, my phone was upside down by the way, and if it's trying to download data or something like that, it's going to be jumping from tower to tower to tower. It can cause congestion within the network. It can cause confusion for your phone providers to where your phone actually is. And in some rare cases, I mean, you can even be charged for your roaming charges as well, because if you're flying maybe down to Mexico when you cross the border and your phone's still on and it's still receiving data, you could be charged for, you know, time that you've been using when it's in Mexico, and that might, you know, cost you a bit of money. So that's why you want to turn that off. I personally, again, like I said, I just turn mine into airplane mode, and I don't really take it out or do anything when we're taking off, because I want to be alert when I'm out there. But I will admit, though, I do use my little vlogging camera to record my takeoffs and landings, just because they're kind of cool. But, you know, I'm still paying attention because, you know, I'm paying attention to the video of everything flying and the ground. So it's kind of cool, and that's really why you should be at least switching your phones into airplane mode rather than maybe turning them off or just keeping them on in general. So there you go. That hopefully clears up a lot of the misconceptions for phones in airplanes. All right, here's one from Ars Technica. Members of Congress finally introduce serious DMCA reform. Finally, they're gonna do something about this. Jeez! Sorry, didn't mean to get too excited there. So basically, members of Congress are introducing a bill to reform some of the DMCA clauses in there, specifically to do with cell phones. Currently in the DMCA, it says that you cannot unlock cell phones for legal or even illegal matters. And so what this bill wants to do is it wants to change it to allow for cell phone unlocking to be done if it doesn't have a malicious background to it. So if you're unlocking maybe to jailbreak or unlocking to change networks, that's not going to be considered illegal anymore. But if you're unlocking maybe to get someone's personal information or download someone's personal data, well, that's still going to be considered illegal. But I applaud Congress for finally doing something about this. Now, in more Congress news from Business Insider, John McCain wants to blow up the cable industry as we know it. No, he doesn't want to literally blow up the cable industry, but what he wants to do is he wants to force cable providers to let people subscribe to channels on an a la carte basis, so that you don't have to subscribe to like 100 channels and only watch 4 or 5 of them, because, well, really, that's how the cable companies make their money right now. So they sell you more channels than what you need, and they make you pay out the butt these ridiculous prices. Like I am right now, I've subscribed to about 80 channels through Comcast, and guess what? I only watch about 5 or 6 of them, really. I mean, sometimes I'm flipping through channels, but I don't really watch any other channels than my mainstream shows. And so it'd be great to see this go through and finally be able to only pick the channels that I want as an a la carte service. Granted, the cable companies are probably going to lobby really hard against this, but this is something that I can really get behind John McCain for, and something that I hope will get passed, and that we can finally settle our differences between the cable companies and consumers. But there's only one thing wrong with this at the current moment. They're not doing anything on the cable internet side. They're only doing it on the TV side. So hopefully after this, if this goes through well and provides good results, that, well, the industry for the internet, the cable internet, can maybe make those prices go down. But we'll see. All right, now on to our last story from CNET. Apple deluged by police demands to decrypt iPhones. ATF says no law enforcement agency can unlock a defendant's iPhone, but Apple can bypass the security software if it chooses. Apple has created a police waiting list because of high demand. So the ATF, or the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, or I guess that's ATFE, anyways, basically they say that law enforcement agencies cannot force unlock iPhone. So if it has a password on it like mine does, well, you can't unlock it if you're a law enforcement agent. Only Apple can bypass that security measure. And, well, Apple has a very, 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 very long waiting list to do that. And so it's getting backed up, and the police are getting angry because they can't convict these criminals, because they can't gather the evidence off the iPhones because they're locked, and they can't do it because Apple is the only one who can do it because the ATF says so. It's just a whole big jumble of mess. And I'm sure we'll see Apple trying to handle those as best as they can. They'll probably allocate more people to handle that very long waiting list, like I said. And I don't know, is good on one part because it allows for a regulation happening for being able to unlock these iPhones. So Apple isn't just giving it out to everybody because, well, if you give it out to everybody, then people are basically going to abuse it. Let's say you don't have a warrant to unlock an iPhone. Well, they just unlock it anyways to get the evidence, and then you create a whole nother drama. So I think it's good because Apple is the one regulating figure there, and it can help, but again, the waiting lists are long, so then it delays getting convictions of criminals. So that's my thoughts on it. That's the current law on it. I'm sure we'll see changes in the future. Today's hardware just arrived on my doorstep a couple hours ago. It is this guy that I'm currently using right now. It's a Canon ACK E6. It is a power adapter for the Canon 5D Mark III, and I believe Mark II and 60D and anything that takes the same battery as the Mark III, which is a lot of the higher-end Canon cameras. You can use this to power it off an AC adapter, so when you're doing shows like this, which requires a long time for the camera to be on, you can use something like this to keep it on and not worry about draining the battery. So I'm going to be using this now to power my 5D Mark III to power these videos. So that is my hardware of the day. Again, link is down below if you want to pick this up for yourself. It's not cheap. It's a power adapter, and it's at $119 for this thing. That's crazy. That's almost like Adobe, and it's Canon. Canon charges for everything. Anyways, moving on. On to the question of the day. Do you turn off your electronics on a flight? I personally turn mine into airplane mode where available, but what do you guys do? And explain why you guys do it and maybe your reasoning behind it if it's unique. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'd like to thank you guys for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, for commenting. If you'd like to follow us on our social media profiles, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, all under the username of LogicLounge. Be sure to submit your daily tech stories to our subreddit that could make it into this program right here, reddit.com/r/techlinkdaily. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Creighton Meller. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Actually, I'll see you guys Monday. I was wrong.